Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Layo Adegoke. Let's begin with stories and happenings that made headlines over the weekend. Yet another bomb explosion in Somalia that claimed the lives of at least 13 people. On Sunday, the controversial Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam was commissioned and it begins generating electricity. Plus, a historic day for Nigeria as two of the Benin bronzes looted over a century ago returns with much celebration and fanfare.
At least 13 people were killed in the central Somali town of Beledweyne on Saturday after a suicide bomber blew up in a restaurant. Witnesses say the restaurant was packed with local officials and politicians. According to a report by Site Intelligence, which monitors militant groups online, the Al-Shabaab militant group claimed responsibility for the attack. The parliamentary elections began November 1 and were initially supposed to end on December 24, but are currently due to be completed on the 25th of February. Ethiopia began producing electricity for the first time from its Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, a massive hydropower plant on the River Nile that neighbors, Sudan and Egypt, say will cause severe water shortages downstream. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed officially inaugurated electricity production on Sunday from the mega dam, a milestone in the controversial multi-billion-dollar project. Mr. Abiy, accompanied by high-ranking officials, toured the power generation station and pressed a series of buttons on an electronic screen, a move officials said initiated production. On Saturday, two Benin bronzes were returned to their traditional palace in Nigeria, more than a century after they were looted by British troops. At a colourful ceremony to mark the return of a cockerel sculpture and a bronze cast head on an Oba or king, Charles Edosonwa, spokesman for the Benin's Oba Palace, noted that some of the bronzes were kept as far as New Zealand, the United States and Japan.
You'll be shocked at the spread of these artifacts. They are all over the place, up to New Zealand and Australia, the United States, Japan, all over Europe. So they must come back here because this is their nativity. That aside, these are not just art, There are things that underline and signify as spirituality.
The return has raised hopes that thousands more artifacts could finally be returned to their ancestral home.
So our main stories for today: Burkina Faso's transitional president, Lieutenant Colonel Paul-Henri Damiba, has called for an investigation to assess the damage during the January military coup. According to a statement released by the presidency, 2 civilians were killed and a dozen others were injured by stray bullets during the military takeover. Mr. Damiba ordered that the families of the victims be taken care of, reassuring them that all measures would be taken to support them. Mr. Damiba, who was sworn in on the 16th of February as interim president, has vowed to do everything possible to guarantee justice for all the people of Burkina Faso. Former President of Nigeria, Goodluck Jonathan, believes the challenges confronting the West African sub-region is surmountable. Dr. Jonathan, who expressed his optimism during the Council of the Wise meeting in Lagos, notes that the crisis rocking the region is not new and that people have the capacity to overcome it. The Council of the Wise is the first ever non-state structure that forms parts of ECOWAS peace and security architecture, chaired by former President Jonathan.
I'm confident that we have the capacity to achieve our mandate. The task ahead of us may seem daunting, given the current challenges in our sub-region, but it is not insurmountable. I implore all of us to give the assignment our best shot. We will be seen to have done justice to this assignment if we succeed in catalyzing processes towards institutionalizing systems that will deepen democracy, people-oriented governance, and sustainable growth. in our sub-region. Before I take my seat, let me encourage council members that ECOWAS is definitely not going down. Yes, we have challenges, but we'll surely overcome the challenges, and ECOWAS will even become stronger. I'm saying so because of the confidence I have. For the short period I was in charge of the affairs of Nigeria and a member of the council. From the period I acted about 3 months, then completed my predecessor 1 year, then won my election and ran the country for 4 years. About 5 years, 3 months, I was at the time the chair of the authority. And within that period too, we had such experiences. I remember clearly we had the Ivorian crisis when there was a stalemate between the election of Bagbo and Ouattara.
The UK government has expressed its willingness to work with Nigeria in tackling the security challenges in the country. The UK's Minister for Africa, Latin America and Caribbean, Vicky Ford, disclosed this during a meeting with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Geoffrey Onyeama, in Abuja. She said this is in furtherance of the UK-Nigeria Security and Defence Partnership Dialogue in London earlier this month, during which the UK and Nigeria agreed to strengthen cooperation in a range of areas, including military cooperation, amongst others. On his part, Mr. Onyeama notes that no nation can survive in isolation, hence the need for this kind of cooperation to enhance development across the region.
Excellency, the UK has also been involved in the security challenges in the West African sub-region, and there's a lot that's going on now in that area, Mali, Guinea, Burkina Faso, and so forth, and the United Nations is of course also involved, and so we look to continue to cooperate with you in this area, and because we feel that it's not something that we can do alone in the sub-region. We need United Nations support and also the support of European countries who have been engaged in the framework of the G5 Sahel and other initiatives. So a very warm welcome to you. Very good to see you again in Nigeria, and I look forward to having greater, more in-depth discussions with you, and to ensure that your visit is a successful one.
Well, elsewhere, as another press briefing, Ms. Vicky Ford announced the 5.6 billion naira intervention to boost renewable energy production. The plan, according to her, aims at meeting the energy needs of over 85 million Nigerians who depend on alternative energy sources. She reaffirms the UK government's commitment towards the provision of clean energy that promotes safe environment for all. At least 80 supporters of an opposition party in Zimbabwe remain in detention after they were arrested in the city of Masvingo over the weekend, or they were rounded up ahead of a rally in the capital Harare on Sunday, which launched the Citizens Coalition for Change (CCC) party's campaign for parliamentary by-elections next month. The CCC is led by Nelson Chamisa, who's the former leader of the opposition movement for democratic change, MDC, which has suffered numerous splits since it was founded more than 2 decades ago. Joining us now for more on this is Zimbabwean journalist Nigel Yamutumbu. Thank you for speaking to us. So it appears it's election season, albeit, parliamentary polls. Help us understand what is at stake at this time.
Well, yes, the political climate in Zimbabwe is certainly heightening following the upcoming by-elections set for March 26 and also the launching of a new political formation, which in all intents and purposes buries the biggest opposition movement in the country. That is the Movement for Democratic Change that was led by Morgan Tsvangirai. And since the legal processes and the subsequent recalls that were made within the opposition, the coming in on board of Nelson Chamisa's Citizens Coalition for Change has galvanized the citizenry, has escalated the political temperatures in the country, as evidenced by his launch rally in Harare yesterday, and also by the number of activists and also the reaction by government, which is certainly in panic mode.
So let's talk about, the arrests of over 80 supporters of this newly launched CCC party. Is there a reason for their detention? Have they been charged?
Well, they are facing charges of inciting public violence and also is obtained in the Maintenance of Public Order Act. They are due to have their bail hearing tomorrow. Today is a public holiday here in Zimbabwe, which meant that they had to spend the long weekend incarceration. So really the arrest is to just show intent by the state that any real move in terms of gathering political momentum and in terms of mobilizing support within the critical parliamentary elections, which are going to be litmus tests towards the 2023 general election. So in a way, the arrests are to stifle the space for the opposition and to make sure they are kept at bay.
So just finally, quickly, we have the ZANU-PF party, that's the ruling party, we have the MDC, we have the CCC, and there's some other political parties. What chances do every party have as they look forward to March for this parliamentary?
It's really it's going to be between the ruling ZANU-PF and Nelson Chamisa's Citizens Coalition for Change. I think even in my introductory remark, I noted that yesterday's launch of the Citizens Coalition for Change really just put the final nail in the coffin of the Movement for Democratic Change, which is expected to really be buried not only within the March 26 by-elections, but for the 2023 election. So it's again President Emerson Mnangagwa against Nelson Chamisa.
All right then, thank you so much, Nigel, Zimbabwean journalist.
Thank you, pleasure.
There is so much Nigeria and Jamaica can do to foster trade and investment as it prepares to hold the 4th Joint Commission this week, so says the Jamaican Foreign Minister to Nigeria. During an interview with our Foreign Affairs correspondent, Amarachi Ubani, Mrs. Kamina Johnson-Smith, who is visiting Nigeria for the very first time, says many other issues of mutual importance will be discussed at the meeting to begin tomorrow and end on the 24th in Abuja. She also spoke about how excited she was to be visiting Nigeria.
Well, everything fascinates me about Nigeria, your history, your culture, our connections as people. I mean, Nigeria has one of the richest histories globally that anyone could embrace. And in addition to that, you have the largest youth population. You're Africa's largest exporter of oil. You have largest resources of natural gas. So the potential and the wealth and the incredible strength of Nigeria is a wonderful thing to behold. I'm pleased to be here. As you may know, the Commission has not met in several years. In fact, it hasn't met since 2014. So there's a lot of work to be done. We imagine that we will be revisiting some older arrangements, seeing what can be renewed, what can be repurposed, as well as finding new ground on which we can cooperate. We're looking at the technical side, that is health, education, culture, sports. We know there's so much we can do in those areas and have done. And then, of course, we're also looking at how we can foster trade and investment between Nigeria and Jamaica, using the geostrategic location of Jamaica to leverage Nigerian investments into the North and South America.
Several protests have broken out in cities across Morocco against the rising cost of living and also to commemorate the 11th anniversary of the launch of a major reform movement. Hundreds of people demonstrated in the northern city of Casablanca, calling for the release of political prisoners. Many speakers who addressed the crowds lamented that none of their demands for social justice, gender equality, among others, have been achieved in 11 years. There were similar protests in the capital, Rabat, and also in Tangier. Morocco's economy has been hit badly by drought and the coronavirus pandemic. Mozambican authorities have seized 11 elephant ivory tusks in a residence in the western city of Tete. 2 people have been detained in connection with the case, but these people deny involvement in the crime, saying they only brokered the sale. The police say the tusks were in a sack and weighed about 47 kilos and were to be sold at about $16 a kilo. The country's National Criminal Investigation Service said police officers pretended to be buyers so as to arrest the suspects. Last month, the police seized 50 elephant tusks from a house on the outskirts of the capital, Maputo. As the world marks the International Modern Language Day, a Nigerian man, Oluwapo, says he wants to use a different approach to make people learn his mother tongue, Yoruba. He is pushing for linguistics and cultural diversity with his board game, Yoruba Lingo. The game is meant to entertain and educate players and also targets parents living in the diaspora who want to give their children the opportunity to learn the Yoruba language in a fun way.
Aremu and Oluwapo thought of how best to make people have fun while learning his local dialect, Yoruba, and he created an African indigenous board game, Yoruba Lingo. In 2019, the 24-year-old started working with cardboard papers and colored pencils to make designs after drawing inspiration from several crossword puzzles he played in the past.
My name is Aremu Anuluapo. I'm the creator of Yoruba Lingo, a crossword game designed in the Yoruba language. Ojo, rain, ija, fight, ifeso, we, efo, vegetables, esin, erin, walking, iso, shop. The beauty of the language is, for example, the iso, it could be iso, which is there's a change in tonality. So the combination of the segments and the supra segments adds to the beauty while playing the game.
And Oluwapo says he wanted more people to engage with the Yoruba language beyond just speaking it.
I saw a need to have something like that just for the language to, have more engagement compared to the European and Asian and other continental languages.
Yoruba is spoken in parts of West Africa, with majority of speakers found in southwestern Nigeria. About 50 million people speak the language, which has 25 alphabets and includes 7 vowels and 18 consonants.
If you are trying to teach what people are not really excited to learn, but you have to take another approach. So it's like a fusion of education and entertainment. So to form a kind of edutainment background via learning something new that could spoil their excitement into trying to learn the language and use it more.
Aderemi Adegbite, a visual artist who also runs an institute to promote the Yoruba language, says more needs to be done to promote local languages and help preserve them.
For a long period of time, in those countries that were colonized, the colonizers' languages have been the former languages being spoken in those countries. In Nigeria, quite a lot of initiatives are coming up to protect the languages and the dialects, in the country.
Nigeria is one of the most linguistically diverse countries in the world, with several hundred indigenous languages spoken.
plan now is to get people who can invest in the game to, try to make more copies of the game and sell to people, who are interested in playing the game locally and internationally, majorly for people in the diaspora. Because what I also notice is that once people go out of Nigeria, especially the young kids, let's say 8, 10 and below, they are vulnerable to language change.
The board game is now going through the last bits of graphic redesigning and will be released into the market early next year.
Well, this next story is one that I'm excited about. 2 kids from the raving Ghetto Kids dance group from Uganda, Akram and King, set some residents of Lagos Island into a frenzy as the duo made a surprise appearance for a music video shoot in the area. Take a look.
This is what a typical Sunday afternoon looks like on the popular Lagos Island. Today, however, the energy is different. A crowd is growing around 2 young dancers dancing to a song that recently went viral. They are King and Akram, the lead dancers from the raving Uganda freestyle dance group Ghetto Kids TFUG. The kids got popular in Nigeria recently after a video of them dancing to LT Skill's new song ODG went viral and have captured international attention, having been referenced by Premier League legend John Terry and receiving a Nickelodeon Kids Awards nomination. The kids stomped, danced, jumped in unison and later brought in their signature individual freestyle to the amazement of the crowd. Before coming to Lagos, they had both gone to the United States of America and also have pending invitations as their popularity now brings new opportunities.
Africa's talented kids. That's it on the program today. Thank you for watching. I'm Layo Adegoke.